Hi, this is Sibila Extreme Vocal and a quick comparison of a vocal fry scream engaging false vocal folds, false chord scream and yell scream engaging fry distortion and false chord distortion. Fry scream engaging false vocal folds. Yeah! 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 May my day die! Yeah! May my day die! What good is in your life? Vocal fry scream. Whoa! Yeah! Yeah! May my day die! What good is in your life? False chord scream. Hey, oh. May my day die! What good is in your life? May my day die! What good is in your life? May my day die! What good is in your life? Yell scream engaging fry distortion. May my day die! What good is in your life? Make my day and die! Wow! Yeah! And finally, yell scream engaging false chord distortion. Yeah! Hey! May my day die! May my day die! What good is in your life? Alright, so here we have it, a quick comparison of a vocal fry scream engaging false vocal folds, false chord scream, and yell scream engaging fry distortion and false chord distortion. I hope very much that this video will be useful for you, for example, for identifying your own technique and style, and to learn what technique and style is using, for example, your favorite vocalist, or overall vocalist that you listen to on a daily basis. Anyway, thanks for today, have a great day, have a great practice, cheers and love. Fry noise. Vocal fry.
Hi guys, what's up? This is Mad again, and in this video I will present you 3 types of vocal onsets, vocal attack. Vocal onsets or vocal attacks are the ways that we approach the sound from the very beginning, the way we start a phrase with our vocals. There are 3 basic types of vocal onsets, and I will present you them in this video. The first attack is the hard onset. It is one of the most common traps that are present, especially in the area of extreme vocals. Hard onset appears when we want to be very loud, but we don't care enough of our technique and we put too much strength, too much effort for producing sounds. Our vocal folds are very tight, there is pressure, they are rubbing off each other, there is too much force in our throat, and it is very exhausting way of performing vocals. You can hear hard onset when someone is arguing on the street or at home. Very loud, powerful, forceful sounds with clenched throat, yeah! Or when you will go on some sports event and fans of each team are screaming, are yelling, they are probably using a hard onset in 90% of times they are screaming. The third situation when we can hear a hard onset is when someone is almost yelling, almost shouting to reach higher notes. Someone, instead of, for example, like ah, is doing like ah, and puts too much effort for reaching those higher sounds. This is also hard onset. Too much force, too much pressure on our vocal folds, which are rubbing off each other, which is very exhausting for our voice. And the fourth situation when we can hear that someone is pushing too much, is using hard onset, is when someone tries to scream or growl or to sing with distortion, but his or her technique is rather poor. Too much pressure, too much force, too much air that is coming out with the sound, and the basic starter setting of the larynx and throat is like First sound is rather clenched, very tight, and later it opens, but the first attack is from position of tension, like and here comes examples of hard onset. I couldn't kill myself. So shortly, the hard onset can appear when we want to produce very loud, maybe even too loud sounds that are beyond the comfort of our voice, and it can appear when we don't support enough very loud sounds, but it can also appear when we support too much, because when we clench our belly muscles too much, this tension will go from our belly to our throat, and also our larynx will clench. So it is very good to support the sounds in a proper way. Not too much, but not too little. Too much and too little can lead us to hard onset, which is very, very exhausting for our voice. The second onset is called breathy or aspirated onset. It has its value. It can be used for singing some very light songs, for example ballads, some romantic love songs. Across upon her bedroom's wall, from grace she will fall, an image burning in her mind, and between her thighs, yeah. But the key is to understand how to use it and to be conscious, to use it in an aware way, not to use it without any awareness. Because when we overuse the breathy onset, our vocals, our voice is exhausted very, very fast in a painful way, especially in the long term. But why breathy onset is so tiring for our voice? When the sound is kinda weak, it isn't too loud. The reason is too much air that flows between our vocal folds. Our vocal folds are not closed enough, there is space between them, and the stream of air that flows through our throat between our vocal folds is wider. We lose much more air with the sound, and this wide stream of air is exhausting for our voice because it dehydrates our vocal folds, which is exhausting for them, especially in the long run. And here comes example of aspirated onset. I saw a spirit of a woman who cried. When we use the breathy onset too much, especially without noticing that we use it, our vocal folds get weaker and weaker day after day, until the time that they are almost unable to close in a proper, natural for them, effortless way, and we have to begin learning how to close our vocal folds naturally without putting too much effort. So shortly, aspirated onset has its value, but the key is to use it in a conscious, aware way that yes, we are using breathy onset for singing this particular song, but later we are using optimal way to close our vocal folds and to begin the phrase. It is coordinated onset, and I will explain you that now. The third, last one, basic type of vocal onset, of vocal attack, is the proper one. It is called coordinated onset. It means that there is coordination between the stream of air that flows between our vocal folds and the vocal folds closure. Our vocal folds close when the stream of air gets between them and make them vibrate, so the sound appears. So our vocal folds close only when there is air between them. Coordinated onset means that there is coordination between the stream of air that flows through our throat, our vocal folds, and vocal folds closure. So our vocal folds close when there is air between them that can be transformed by vibrations into the sound. Vocal folds are not closed like during hard onset before there is air. Vocal folds close only when there is air between them, and this air can be transformed into the full sound. So shortly, coordinated onset saves for us energy, saves effort, and helps us to produce very loud, very powerful sounds without putting too much effort, without putting too much strength and tension into our throat and the work of our vocal folds and larynx. We save energy, we sound more natural, and of course we sound more powerful. Our voice has much more endurance than when we use hard onset or aspirated onset. So I recommend you to practice the way that you approach the phrase and the sounds from the very beginning. Try to hit the notes with ease, with confidence, but without pushing too much. Just take care of your breath support, take care of the projection of the sound that begins with your belly muscles and then with your throat. And here you have example of some coordinated onset.
I love you as a being.
I saw a spirit of a woman who cried.
You know the day has caused a night, night divides the day. Try to hide, try to run. I will be your cold, I will be your trigger, I will be your dead lover. And again, a hard onset, for example, ah, 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 ah. Breathy onset, ah, ah, ah. And coordinated onset, ah, 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 ah. Coordinated onset basically sounds very gentle, but it can be also easily overdriven. We can easily add some more volume and loudness to the sound without putting too much effort for producing the specific sound. Another interesting fact about vocal onsets is that the way we begin a phrase determines the whole sound from the very beginning till the very end. So when we will approach the sound from beginning with the breathy onset, then whole sound, whole phrase, whole verse will sound breathy. It is very hard to make the sound more powerful because our vocal folds are not closed enough. When we will attack the sound in a very harsh, hard way, the sound will be like this from the very beginning to the very end. The whole rest of the sound from the very beginning till the very end will also be very harsh because our vocal folds are clenched very much until we take another breath and our vocal folds and larynx will get back to default setting. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope that these three types of vocal onsets, the ways that you can begin the phrase, will help you to raise your awareness that it is necessary to take care of the way that we begin this sound, because the way we begin phrase determines mostly the whole rest of the sound and the level of effort that we have to put into our vocals for producing a sound. And also, when we use coordinated onset, we have more control over the sound. We can easily overdrive the sound, we can easily add more volume to the sound without putting too much force, without putting any tension that is unnecessary for our vocal folds to create powerful, loud sounds. Thank you for this video and see you around in the next one.
One of the most essential aspects of the vocal warm-up is to open our throat. When it comes to opera singing, open throat means that our larynx is lowered, the soft palate is lifted. So to achieve something like that, we can yawn like and observe if the larynx is actually lowering. We can also observe the soft palate area if it gets lifted, and how does it feel when our larynx lowers and the soft palate lifts. It's really important to not move back your tongue, so the root of the tongue stays at its natural place. It's really important. Otherwise you will sound like you will sound like this. Instead of like this, for example. We don't want to move back our tongue. Let the tongue stay at its natural position. But the soft palate gets higher and our larynx gets lower. You can make a sound like putting accent on the a vowel. So the h sound is like almost not hearable. And no matter if you are going to use low screams, deep growls, or sing with a darkened sound color, or sing very low, it's a good thing to do when you are starting your vocal warm-up. It just stretches your throat, simply warming up your muscles and your voice as well. But if you are going to do like regular rock metal vocals or screaming like high-pitched fry screams and black metal vocals, the opera singing method for opening the throat is not the best because your voice will be darkened and it's not the best setting to achieve a high-pitched screaming, like for example in Emperor's music. We want to think now more about remaining our soft palate lifted but without lowering our larynx. So to achieve something like that, to separate the movement of our larynx and the soft palate, we can think of like swallowing a whole apple. We want to just stuff our mouth with an apple and not suffocate with it. So to do so, we need to lift our palate. And when our palate is lifted, our voice starts to sound like this. It's more like a radio type of a voice. I don't know, it's really smooth. It resonates very close to the eyebrows, especially the point in between our eyebrows and the forehead. And we feel like there is a lot of space inside of our mouth too, which is pretty comfortable. And again, we can use the sound. So with lower larynx, it sounds more like but with the natural position of larynx and lifted soft palate, it sounds like this. And my voice sounds like this too, and it's pretty unnatural for me because I rather talk like this and don't give a fuck about technique, but everything begins also with the way we are speaking. So it's much more healthy to speak like this, to use higher resonators, our sinuses, our forehead and stuff like that. What can be also helpful to warm up your voice, to improve your resonance, especially the higher resonators like sinuses, the area of your forehead, the top of the head, is the murmurando exercise. And we will make two sounds. First one is like we were agreeing with someone. And the second one is like we were disagreeing with someone. Alright, remember that the soft palate is slightly lifted. You use your support, the sound is kind of rounded smooth, like you wanted to sing it through the top of your head or from your forehead. And it's really important to observe if you feel the resonance in between the line of your hair and your forehead. So you can then place there your palm and observe if you feel any vibrations under your palm. Mm-hmm. 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 And the second one. Mm-mm. 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 And this is simply how we prepare our throat for singing, how we open it, and how we prepare our voice. So we use this ha, 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 ha at the first place, but we want to scream, so we need a little bit more like dynamic, powerful sounds, and to do so we will use the projection. So again, our soft palate is still lifted, but we project the sound more, like we wanted to shoot it from a bow or throw it or something like that. And it can sound like this. Ha, 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 ha. Hey, 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 ha, 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 hey, ha, 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 hey, hey, ha, ha. Ha! And remember, it has to be balanced and totally comfortable. Alright, so these are the basic simple ways of how to warm up your voice. Thank you and take care and have a great...
Hi guys, what's up? This is Matt again and introduction to extreme vocal techniques. This video I will explain to you simple mechanisms that are behind fry scream and false score so you would know and understand the difference. Fry scream and vocal fry depend mostly on the work of our true vocal folds. Our true vocal folds vibrate in a very chaotic, very rapid, very fast way, and the air that flows in between our vocal folds creates some bubbles, and these bubbles are responsible for the fryish sound like an oil on a frying pan. So very chaotic, very rapid vocal folds, vibrations, and the air that creates some bubbles. Fry scream technique offers high variety of the sounds. We can get high-pitched screams, we can even go higher with whistle register screams like pterodactyl. Or kettle. We can also achieve very low growls, gutturals, we can achieve pig squeals. And of course we can add a distortion to our clean singing voice. Fry is also very sensitive for modulation of the sound. Even lifting up, twisting or doing anything with our tongue can change the sound totally. Fry scream requires lesser effort than false chord for sure, but it requires more smart work in our throat. By that I mean we need to use, for example, vocalist muscle to compress the sound so it would get sharp and very juicy, very distorted. Vocalist muscle is activated, for example, when we drink something and we feel that some muscle works here. You can drink some water and put your finger above your larynx and observe what do you feel, how does it feel to activate this muscle. Very similar sensation appears when we want to compress our vocal fry and transit into fry scream like Vocal fry is a fry scream without compression. No effort, no compression, total relax in our throat. But when we want to transit this vocal fry into fry scream, we need to add some compression, and our vocals muscle helps us to achieve that. Fry scream also needs lesser amount of air than false chord. The stream of air while using fry is very narrow, and when we use false chord, the stream of air is a little bit wider. Narrow stream of air is achieved by compression that I have mentioned before. Fry scream is great to sustain a long sound like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, or even 1 minute long. So shortly about the fry scream. Fry depends mostly on the vibrations of our true vocal folds, which vibrates in a very chaotic, very fast way. Second thing is that fry scream needs lesser effort from our whole body, but requires more smart work to do and more experience to not fuck up our throat and vocal folds by squeezing and clenching it. So compression is needed. A little bit tension is necessary to compress the sound, but too much tension of the throat will kill our voice very quick in a very, very painful way. And here we have some examples of the sounds that are created with fry scream. First of all, high-pitched scream.
Revoke the almighty driving force!
High-pitched fry scream appears, for example, in bands like Infant Annihilator, Norder, Children of Bodom, Emperor, Dark Funeral, and later Dissection. Low growls using fry. Low growls using fry technique appears a lot of times in any deathcore music basically, and for example Polish death metal band called Dies Irae. You can check them out on YouTube. Distortion with clean singing appears in music of bands like Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Judas Priest, and of course Pantera. And here we have some examples of distortion using fry technique.
Yeah. I love you as a being, but you are perfecting existence. And now shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it.
And I will devour you, take all that pain away.
Screaming for vengeance.
And now false chord technique. Distortion in false chord technique is created mostly by our false vocal folds, which are a little bit above our true vocal folds, and interesting fact about them is that they are a little bit thinner than our true vocal folds. So in false chord technique, our true vocal folds are responsible for the tone of the sound. It can be high, it can be low, or whatever. And distortion is created mostly by vibrations of our false vocal folds. And these two factors combined together result in creating false chord technique. As I have mentioned before while talking about fry scream, a false chord needs more air to be pushed with the sound, and it requires more effort from our belly muscles and stronger breath support than fry scream. For the most of people, false chord is the easier one technique to achieve. It comes very natural because all you need to do is to use the breath support and just sigh like you were just pissed off and tired after a day in school or at work. You come home and just want to get rid of any shit that bothers you, and you want to be left alone in peace, like And by the way, it is the easiest exercise to begin with the false chord growl. Screams and growls using false chord technique seem to be bigger, seem to have more volume than those performed with fry scream, and it depends on the stream of air. Like I have mentioned before, a fry scream is narrow stream of air and false chord is a little bit wider stream of air. So sounds using false chord technique seem to be bigger, they seem to have much more volume than those using fry scream. Fry scream is just more compressed stream of air, like false chord and fry scream. So shortly about the false chord technique. It requires a little bit more strength, a little bit more effort from our belly muscles and diaphragm than fry scream, but in the opposite to fry scream, false chord requires from us total relax in the throat, and while using fry scream a little bit of tension is necessary to compress the sound. For false chord we need to relax and just lose our throat and our larynx, because any tension will harm us as hell. The second thing about false chord is that the volume is much higher than in fry scream technique. Also, it is much easier to achieve very powerful, very loud sounds without any unnecessary effort with false chord technique than with using fry scream. So your first fry scream rather will be more quiet than it would be with using false chord technique. For example, first fry scream and first false chord would be like. Personally, I prefer more false chord because I like brutal shit and I like vibrations in my belly, in my chest, and I like to hit the sound and really feel that I engage into creating the sounds. And fry scream requires lesser effort, so I feel less. And false chord for me is way much brutal and more engaging. And here we have some examples of false chord. First of all, high-pitched scream.
We invoke the Black Dragon of Chaos! We invoke the Almighty Dragon Force!
High-pitched false chord appears, for example, in bands like New Chelsea Green with new vocalist, Shadow of Intent, At the Gates, and my band Vishuddha. Low growl using false chord. Low growls using false chord technique are, for example, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, Shadow of Intent, and again my band Vishuddha. Distortion with the singing in false chord technique appears not so often as with fry scream, but the lower we go with our distortion with clean singing, the more false chord we are using, and the higher we go with our singing with distortion, the more fryish is the sound. To hear example of false chord used in singing with distortion, you can check out Sad But True by Metallica and, for example, I Stand Alone by Godsmack. You can also check out a band called Gravedigger. Their vocals are pretty low and they sing with distortion. And here we have some examples of distortion with clean singing based mostly on false chord.
Hey, you! You're my mask, you're my cover, my shelter. Do my work, feeling your sting down inside me. I'm not dying for it. Feeling your sting down inside me. I'm not dying for it.
So here we have it, a little introduction into the topic of extreme vocal techniques with fry scream and false chord. Now you know the difference between sound and between mechanism that is behind each of technique, and now it is easier for you to recognize what technique is used by your favorite singers or even by yourself, and which type of sound suits you the best. Thank you for this video, have a good one, stay extremely vocalized, cheers! Hello, this is Matt again, and in this video we will talk about breathing and the posture in the context of extreme vocals. Not only essential for the best quality vocals, but it is essential to keep us alive. So it is good not only for singing or better screaming, to choose better and healthier habits that are connected with our breathing. The first rule about breathing that is worth to stick with is to keep our shoulders relaxed, a little bit lowered in a natural, loose position without raising them up while inhaling the air or exhaling the air while projecting the sound. One of the most common mistakes that is made, especially by beginner singers or screamers, is to raise shoulders while inhaling the air. When we do so, the air mostly goes to the upper part of our lungs instead of going to the lower part of our lungs, and of course to our diaphragm. And without air in our diaphragm, we are almost unable to support properly the sound. So the sound is less powerful, the sound is more breathy, and our fatigue is just faster. So it is very good, it is recommended even by doctors to avoid shallow breathing as much as we can. It is recommended to inhale through our nose in a calm, slow way, and to exhale the air in the same tempo as we inhale it with our mouth. In music such as death metal or stuff like that, there is no time for zen shit and calm breathing. But we are not singing or screaming all the time in our lives, so when we are not active in a vocal way, it is good to inhale with our nose and to exhale with our mouth. So, relaxed shoulders, straight back, straight neck, and calm, deep breath. Improving the way we are breathing is not only good for our voice, for our vocals, for the quality or comfort while performing vocals, it is also good for our body, for our health. Oxygen is a fuel for our muscles and of course for our voice and vocal folds as well. So when you will breathe in a more proper, in a healthier way, you will feel better and more confident in your own body. You will be more energized in your daily life. And when you are on stage, your vocals are rushing forward, there is not too much space or time for the zen shit I am mentioning from the beginning. Just take a quick yet deep breath with your mouth. You can place a hand on your solar plexus area and in the area of your upper belly muscles and try to observe if your hand, while inhaling the air, is pushed a little bit forward. Not too much, just a little bit. Do you feel that your hand is pushed a little bit forward? If yes, then you are engaging your diaphragm into your breathing and you are breathing in an effective and healthy way. That simple trick with quick yet deep breath has a few very good benefits. First of all, we are saving energy. On the other hand, we are keeping our vocals, the strength and power, on the same level through whole song. It is not like we are inhaling so much air that we are almost feeling like a balloon, and of course vocals are powerful in the beginning, but we are losing power while we are losing the air. So instead of one huge large breath, it is better to take few little breaths while performing the phrase, verse, or even few words. When we are taking just enough amount of air to produce a powerful sound, and then again we are inhaling the same little amount of air to produce next sounds, we are keeping the level of power, of strength of our vocals on the same line without losing it and without leaking air, especially on the endings of the words that we are screaming or singing or growling or whatever we are doing with our voice. Inhaling too much air is the next one of the most common mistakes that is made, especially by beginner singers or screamers. People often think that more air is more power, more volume to our vocals, and it is totally wrong. It is just unhealthy for our vocal folds and our whole body, because inhaling too much air creates tension. You can try it out along with me. Yeah, I feel like I have a balloon in my belly and there is tension in the belly area. The tension goes to chest, to throat, and there is much pressure on our vocal folds, and it fastens our fatigue, the fatigue of our voice and our vocal folds. And the other thing is that when we are inhaling too much air, we are losing it even faster than when we took just a little amount of air while inhaling. I will show you it now. Okay, so we will begin with one large, huge breath for the whole phrase.
Raise way, but to count to fall, there's nothingness. Die!
Definitely it doesn't sound more powerful. It even doesn't sound good. It is just empty air thrown with some addition of a growl, some kind of distortion. It may be oversized example, but there are many people out there, and maybe it is even you, that are producing sounds that are breathy and you are not even aware of that. So keep that in mind, that even less air but with more control of the airflow, with better breath support, means much more for the voice, for the quality of vocals, than just random large breath for the whole phrase, or even just one word that have to sound more powerful. The power is breath support, the power is awareness, and the power is health and healthy vocal folds closure, when there is no leaking air, when our tone is compressed, not breathy. And now for the contrast to last example, I will show you now how does a sound growl with lesser, just enough amount of air for the whole phrase and for even one word.
It's way, but to fall, there's nothingness. Die! Die!
It is the difference between just optimal enough amount of air while inhaling and exhaling the air while projecting the sound, and too much air with a very unhealthy breathing technique. Okay, that's all about breathing that you should know and follow while training and practicing extreme vocals. As a short summary for the end, first of all, keep your shoulders relaxed, loose, in a natural position. Avoid raising them up while inhaling and while performing the sound. Keep them relaxed. Second, keep your back and neck straight. No matter the position you are performing at the moment, you can stand still, you can run, you can jump, you can box, you can place your leg on the monitor because it looks cool on live performances or on the rehearsal. No matter the position you are performing at the moment, keep your back and neck straight. Third, try to be aware of the airflow, of the amount of air that is necessary for you to produce a powerful sound, to sustain it on the same level of the power, of the strength, and avoid inhaling too much air, because more air doesn't equal more power. Also, I recommend you all to practice breathing, to find some breathing exercises and to do some sport activities like swimming, running, cycling, or some cardio shit, or even fitness. Everything that engages our breathing and helps to build our endurance, our muscle endurance, will also improve the control of the airflow in our body, and we will be better singers, better screamers too, because we will be more aware and have more our control of the airflow through our body. And for the end, a simple question: isn't that a little bit awkward that most of the people are performing breathing, the most basic, the most essential and primal process in our existence, that most of the people are doing it wrong? Why? Thank you for today. Next time I will show you how you can practice your breathing, how you can improve the control of the airflow, and how can you strengthen your diaphragm and belly muscles, especially in the upper area and between your ribs, that are responsible for performing the healthy breath support. Thank you for today and see you around in the next video. Stay extreme, stay vocalize.